Good morning. My name is John Gregory. I'm with Tata and Howard out of Marlborough, Massachusetts. The presentation this morning will talk about the proactive approach and preparation that the town of Leicester, Massachusetts is taking towards MS4 compliance in an effort to meet the general permit slated to come out for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in the near future. A brief overview of what our presentation will talk about this morning. We will show some of the benefits of regional collaboration as it pertains to stormwater management and efforts to meet MS4 compliance. We'll share some specific resources that a town, in this case the town of Leicester, can use from regional coalition and collaboration with other municipalities in the same situation. We'll demonstrate how planning a stormwater program can both maximize what you get out of collaboration and also help in planning for future stormwater management initiatives. And then finally, we'll show how active members in a stormwater program, both from a DPW, water department standpoint, along with higher up officials, including town administration, selectmen, how an understanding from all different levels on MS4 issues can help educate local stakeholders and residents on the importance of stormwater management practices. The town of Leicester is located in central Massachusetts. It borders Worcester to the east and is located approximately 46 miles west of Boston, Massachusetts. The population of Leicester is approximately 11,000 people. The total area is just under 25 square miles. The population density in Leicester is 444 residents per square mile. The town of Leicester is an MS4 regulated community. This is based on the 2010 U.S. Census. The MS4 regulated area, shown in the red hatching on this figure, shows where the MS4 regulations are enforced within the town. This is determined by the population density in an area of at least 1,000 residents per square mile. The regulated areas do change with each census as the population density may change with the new census. Leicester is a small MS4 community with approximately 90 outfalls varying in size from 8 inches in diameter to 36 inches in diameter. And they also have over 1,000 catch basins within the MS4 regulated area. Now let's talk a little bit about the Central Massachusetts Regional Stormwater Coalition, to which the town of Leicester has been a member since its inception in 2012. Back in 2012, the coalition had 13 original members. Now membership is up to 29 communities in Central Massachusetts. Funding for the coalition was originally through the Community Innovation Challenge grant. This was a grant program through the state that encourages and incentivizes regionalization, basically working together as communities on innovative projects. Some of the items that the program would assist in funding is for technical assistance on initiatives, training, and also working with municipal leaders and having them work together on these initiatives. Ideal projects are innovative in nature and will provide a substantial cost savings for municipalities moving forward. This funding is no longer available for the coalition, so now they utilize private funding, I should say funding within each member community. Each community or each town contributes $4,000 annually to the coalition to pay for the various training and initiatives, use of equipment, etc. that's used by coalition members. In addition, some of that cost is paid forward to cover the People GIS mapping, which we'll talk about a little bit later on in this presentation, and also the comprehensive website that the coalition maintains. The website is paid up through June of 2018. Again, the funding and membership within the coalition helps with sharing of ideas, sharing of equipment, and various resources, which in the end will help decrease the individual municipal costs for each of the members. The coalition has taken on several tasks since its inception. They developed a stormwater pollution prevention plan template that is available on their website, can be used by anyone with access to their website. They've developed 15 standard operating procedures for stormwater management. Some of those include catch basin inspections, wet and dry weather outfall inspections, sampling and locating for illicit discharges, spill response and cleanup, construction site inspections, and several other SOPs. They've developed training and outreach materials, specifically pamphlets and DVD broadcasts, which can be broadcast on local public access television for each member town. They've developed a comprehensive website, which includes the majority of the materials and initiatives that they've taken on since their inception, and that's available to anyone and available to the public for use and reference. Coalition has developed a best management practices toolbox, which includes practices for both residential and small businesses and many other entities. Some of the items include soil erosion practices, preventative maintenance for soil erosion, I should say, landscaping practices, pet waste disposal, and proper application of fertilizer. Coalition has also developed facility-specific stormwater pollution prevention plan figures, which can be included within the template that they developed. They've also developed a guidance on the effective means of implementation of illicit discharge detection and elimination plans. They've utilized some of the plans that the member communities have developed over the years in an effort to help others that need to develop these plans as well within the coalition. Some of the other items they developed, utilizing People GIS online mapping as a database. They've developed Leica GPS data collection and mapping devices. These devices are in kits. They've also utilized, I should say, as we move down the list here, water quality sampling kits. These are used on a 2-week rotating basis amongst the communities. They've provided services to expand to other communities. As we said, they were originally 13. Now they've moved up to 29 total communities. Back to talking a little bit more about the water quality kits. They have a total of 2 kits that rotate amongst the member communities. One is kept at the town of Millbury. The other is kept at the town of Oxford. Some of the items that these kits can measure in the field real time are ammonia, surfactants, chlorine, conductivity, salinity, and temperature. These are all items that were included in the 2004 draft MS4 permit, and they can be done right in the field at the outfalls. One item that can't be measured is bacteriological testing that has to be done in a lab. They've done multi-sector general permit training for industrial discharges that may be occurring within the member communities. They reviewed the draft 2014 Massachusetts MS4 general permit and provided comments as a collaboration back to EPA, and included a 12-page comment letter that all member communities had an opportunity to provide information for. We've developed one-on-one support and training, specifically engineering consultants have provided 8 hours annually for each client on a topic of their choice within stormwater management. And in addition to that, we've had budget and financing workshops. We've had a presentation from Raptorlist. They're a local stormwater sustainability financing expert, and provided some very good input on the financial aspects of stormwater management for all member communities. Back in 2014, the coalition was recognized by the New England Stormwater Collaborative as a best stormwater idea in New England. A representative from the town of Uxbridge accepted the award on behalf of the coalition at the spring 2015 New England Waterworks Association conference in Worcester. The award basically recognized the collaborative efforts that the coalition has been making in stormwater management and the strides they've been making to attain compliance with MS4 to the best of their abilities, and prior to the actual final permit coming out, in preparation for the requirements that will be in that permit. Town of Leicester has a substantial and significant presence within the coalition. Mike Knotts is the superintendent of the Cherry Valley Water and Sewer Districts. He's a steering committee member, and he's also the chairman of the bylaws subcommittee. This subcommittee works on the bylaws for the coalition both now and in the future. Kevin Mizikar is the Leicester Town Administrator. He attends coalition meetings and is quite educated on MS4. And Tom Wood is the Highway Department Superintendent in Leicester. He's also the chairman of Leicester's Stormwater Management Committee. He attends all the training sessions with the coalition and has also trained other participants in the use of the Leica GPS system. The coalition has taken on several of the initiatives of the MS4 permit, specifically the 6 minimum control measures. In regards to public education and outreach, they've developed a social media Twitter account where they've sent out several tweets over the years of various means relative to stormwater management. They've conducted stormwater presentation, and we've also, as discussed before, they have a comprehensive website with all these materials that they developed as a coalition. They've done several presentations on stormwater management to elected officials and department heads to help bring about more public participation and knowledge of MS4. And also, this has brought about more input on the financial aspects of MS4 so that communities can plan for the substantial financial undertaking that they're going to have to take to meet the MS4 requirements. Developed a workshop on illicit discharge and detection elimination programs, and specifically looked at outfall inventory mapping. We've had one-on-one sessions with consultants to provide more information on IDDEs, and specifically as it pertains to industrial discharges, which tend to be more of an undertaking and more of an influence on IDDE discharges. Developed a construction site stormwater runoff control program. This is part of the Stormwater Best Management Practices toolbox that they developed. Some of the items include some sedimentation control requirements, waste control requirements from construction sites, and also private construction awareness. Not all projects are under the direct control of municipalities. They need to have awareness both for municipal projects and for private projects. Developed a post-construction stormwater management program. This is one of the other initiatives that they've developed. This is, again, from the Best Management Practices Toolbox. This focuses on small development, basically your average property owner, and developing low-impact best management practices and training following construction. Some of the items include rain gardens to collect runoff from rain, and also infiltration means to collect stormwater runoff and treat it. And finally, they've developed standard operating procedures through the coalition in developing sump pump discharge policies. There have been several presentations and workshops on these good housekeeping measures, one-on-one sessions, and finally they've also developed a salt and sand application calibration SOP to help with managing salt and sand applications in the runoff following severe winters where sand and salt application is at its most. Now we'll talk about some of the coalition resources that are used by the town of Leicester. As we spoke about earlier, they utilize a Leica GPS locating system. They have 2 surveying devices that are Leica GPS. They're used to map new structures, specifically catch basins and manholes, outfall structures, using a highly accurate satellite network. The GPS system is used with tablets. The Leica system and tablets are used to access both online mapping and the inspection systems for all the coalition members. The Leica system is the best for mapping any of the outfalls, catch basins, piping, drain manholes, etc. that are required in the MS4 Tablets are best used for the structural inspections that are done in the field. The Leica units rotate between the communities on a schedule. Any member community has access to these devices, and the devices are documented with each transfer, and generally it's a couple of weeks between the communities where they can use them and then pass them on to the next community that's in need of using it. Coalition is utilizing People GIS. This is an integrated online mapping and inspection database. It's a cloud-based database that can be accessed by all Coalition members, either through a desktop or a tablet. We have a couple of examples of outtakes from the People GIS. On the left here, we have an ortho map that shows various locations of structures within Leicester. This is just a small sampling of a local neighborhood in Leicester. The squares represent catch basins, triangles represent outfalls. The squares and triangles can be clicked on to have an inspection form and data form come up as on the screen, as shown on the right-hand side here. All the inspection forms are linked to each attribute, as shown in People GIS. Some of the inspection reports include information on manholes, catch basins, piping, best management practices, outfalls, culverts. Any information that the particular entity wants to include is right at the basically click of the mouse, and also easily tracked. Here's an example of an outfall and inventory chart that the Coalition members can use, and is utilized using the tablet computers that they have. Just to go through this real quick, show a listing of the outfall number, the location of that outfall, and it lists the outfall type, basically the diameter and the material of construction, whether or not it has been GPS located in the field, if there are photographs on site, and the overall condition of the outfall. Again, this can change with various inspections that occur. And then the user can also add comments on the right-hand side here. Say there's some added work that needs to be done immediately. There's an imminent problem with it. Those comments can be added for any individual outfall, and then it's uploaded onto the tablet and at the fingertips of anyone that needs it. Here we have another outfall inspection and inventory form. This again is used with the tablet computers, and this is used more for documenting for the first time a particular outfall structure or manhole. It documents the pipe materials, the measurements of the particular outfall or manhole, its overall condition. Basically just gives you an initial summary of the total condition of that particular entity, and then it's recorded into the database. So we'll talk a little bit about a couple of the structures, just to give you some examples. Here's some photos of structures within the town of Leicester. Here on the right we have corrugated metal outfall to what appears to be a perennial stream. That's actually on the left. On the right we have a precast structure leading to another stream within a wooded area. Here we have a culvert and a swale leading to a stream. And then finally on the right hand side we have an outfall leading into a river area. This outfall seems to be shown through a concrete bridge abutment, a bit out of the ordinary, but as you can see there are a lot of varying outfall types and locations that Leicester has to track on a regular basis, and this just gives you some examples of what those structures look like. Coalition has looked into illicit discharge bylaws. Several of the communities within the Coalition have these bylaws, and we're able to provide examples to other Coalition communities in an effort to help them create the bylaws. In particular, this was utilized by the town of Leicester. The 2003 Massachusetts MS4 permit required each permittee, I should say, to develop and implement an illicit discharge policy, and Leicester has made strides in order to do that. Again, these examples were used for members that did not have the bylaws. These are listed on the coalition's website, and the bylaw outlaws the prohibited discharges and any discharges that are exempt from prohibition. Some of Leicester's objectives in terms of their illicit discharge bylaws. Bylaw it included preventing any pollutants from entering Leicester's MS4, basically require all illicit discharges that could cause or contribute a violation of water quality standards and other stormwater standards to be discontinued. It would prohibit the illicit connections and unauthorized discharge, require the removal of all illicit discharges. Thus, this would lead to compliance with state and federal regulations, and it also enables Leicester to provide some sort of legal authority to safeguard any compliance with their bylaw, whether it's through inspection, through monitoring, enforcing, monetary penalties. Basically gives them an in to have a local official of their choice, a town official of their choice, explore any illicit discharges and enforce this bylaw as necessary to discontinue those discharges. The coalition has developed a comprehensive website, and the town of Leicester, through their Stormwater Committee link on their website, has developed a hyperlink directly to the website. Again, this is another effort to provide public education and public awareness of stormwater management practices and the need for anyone in the community to be vigilant if they see any stormwater practices that are poor or that need to be alleviated, and bring it to the attention of town officials. Basically get the education out there to the community. Some of the other resources through the coalition that are utilized by the town of Leicester. They've taken advantage of educational meetings of department heads, again, to spread the knowledge of MS4 not only to those that may be directly enforcing it, but also others in town that need to know about that, both from a financial standpoint and just basically whatever they see in the community to be able to recognize if something is occurring that shouldn't be occurring. They've developed a statement of IDDE responsibilities, looked at a written IDD investigation plan. Other resources, they've developed a highway garage stormwater pollution prevention plan. They were able to utilize information from the coalition to supplement their annual report for MS4 compliance, which was highly helpful. Again, like we spoke about previously, they've developed comments with the coalition as a whole on the 2014 draft MS4 permit. They've had numerous stormwater funding workshops, and also through the coalition and awareness of stormwater management practices in MS4, Leicester has developed a stormwater committee to kind of head up the implementation of anything that needs to happen from a stormwater standpoint for the town of Leicester. The town does plan to continue to use the coalitions and its resources both now and into the future. They plan to continue using these water quality kits as we spoke about earlier, and the SOP for outfall sampling. This will be critical, especially within the requirements of the upcoming MS4 permit. They plan to continue educating on the requirements of the MS4 permit. They hope to utilize People GIS in a little bit more complex manner, and specifically in adding additional piping features from their stormwater collection system to the People GIS. Plan to continue with utilization of public education materials and getting the word out to the public on stormwater management practices. They plan to utilize more education on total maximum daily load, TMDLs, for specific areas in town, and also further development and uses of best management practices that are developed through the coalition. So in summary, as you can see, regional collaboration in terms of MS4 compliance and planning is really invaluable to both the individual members within the coalition and specifically the town of Leicester, who's been in this since the initial inception of the coalition, is certainly going to help them meet their compliance goals from stormwater management in general and with MS4 permit compliance. There's no doubt that Leicester is getting their money's worth and more through the coalition. They're paying just a small fee on an annual basis to have access to not only full equipment resources, but also the knowledge of 28 other communities and what they're doing, and kind of working together as a collaborative. And other municipal members, not only coalition members, but any municipal members can utilize these materials that are available through the website, through the coalition's website, to improve their stormwater program. It's just a click away to really get a lot of useful information at the coalition's website. The sharing of ideas and concepts among the member communities is contributing to regional compliance throughout the coalition members. Again, the ideas from one community to another, the sharing of resources from one community to another really help the entire central Massachusetts area attain stormwater management compliance. One thing that needs to be noted, though, is that the coalition is there to support and share resources. However, it's incumbent upon each individual municipality to provide the financial resources and the personnel to complete all these stormwater related tasks. They really need to make sure that each municipal community has that local knowledge and has the monies appropriated within their budget to meet these tasks. The coalition is not there from a funding standpoint, they're there for support and sharing of resources. Thank you very much for your attention, and I would be happy